Welcome to another episode of Arrow Bandwidth, the podcast series designed to bring you information and news about the latest technologies, vendors and trends affecting the IT industry today. As ever, this show is brought to you by Arrow Electronics. We hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome back to Bandwidth special series coming to you live from IoT World Congress. And I'm joined again by Mr. Paul Vaughan from our ECS business.
Hello.
We spent an hour or so having a wander around the show here at Fiera in Barcelona. And I just thought it'd be really good just to take 5-10 minutes to talk about, not some of the cool stuff that we've seen, like, some of the robotics on the show and things like this, but really what seems to be a particular trend that's coming about from this show.
I think the two things stand out for me. The first thing is that people are showcasing real-world solutions. They're not showcasing digital transformation, data center refreshes, or agility and all of those good things that we always talk about. They're just showing like a garden, or they're showing a pool of water with some sort of sensor in it, etc. All real-world solutions about how to apply the technology, both from an IoT perspective and sensor perspective, all the way through to the analytics and the data back end.
And I think that's the key. It's the application of some of the technology and the components, the technological components from some of the big boys that are also here as well.
So that's the first thing that that struck me, is that a lot of people are doing that, as opposed to just showing up a few PowerPoint slides about what something could potentially look like.
Yeah.
The other thing I notice is that folks are demonstrating solutions that have a modular approach to it, or a standardized approach to sort of productizing what they are selling. One smart city solution that was on display at one vendor, they had a box with a big battery, and I said, look, how long does the battery last? And they said, well, it depends on what you're doing and how much data you're sending back and how often you're sending back, but worst case scenario, it's about 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's not bad. So that's good. The battery lasts for a long time. It's going up on a pole, and you can plug it into the power of the pole. And she says, yeah, but you can also just have a small solar panel, so you don't really have to worry about changing the battery. And I'm like, okay, that's really good. And in terms of maintenance, what about if you buy a box with 2 sensors and you decide maybe, actually this is working really well, we want to see what other 2 or 3 or 4 other sensors you can add. She says, yeah, you just plug it in. You can either pull out ones, or you can add, new ones. It's that easy, and they all look the same. Obviously, they've got labels saying, are they doing carbon monoxide? Are they doing some sort of other purity issue or humidity sensing thing? But fundamentally, it's the same thing. You just plug it in, and it's like that for all the sensors, whether they're in agriculture, smart cities, or any other application. I thought that was really.
I think
really good.
It's a great example of what we see from, certainly on the ECS side of the business. We see a lot of our partners that come from that IT background, and that's exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for a modular approach to an area of IoT that, more often than not, that's the scary part for them. The platform, the data management once it's in cloud, the surfacing analytics. That's kind of business as normal for them, but it's how to actually generate, collect, and transport, and get that data to the data center in the first place, or the public cloud. The vendor that you had in mind, I know it was really good to see that they had some of their partners on the stand. So they weren't just showing that, hey, look, we've got this real modular approach. Here's the various sensors we can plug in. But here's some guys that have taken that, and actually what they've done is they've built their own solution tailored for specific customers or specific market using our kit. They've taken this approach of it almost being like Lego blocks.
Yep. And it's not just a solution. It's a real business operating with all those component parts put together. And that might be something for Arrow in the future to have stands at these events where we bring our partners on. And if partners get to listen to these podcasts, then that's the type of thing you want to share your great stuff with. Then maybe that's something we can partner with them and get them on a stand.
I think it's a fantastic way of showing the Arrow value and the Arrow story. It's by letting our partners tell stories, and we've used a few over the course of this event to show, well, look, this isn't an example of just the value and the scope and capabilities of Arrow. This is what some of our partners are doing, and this is how we're helping them. And that modular approach that we were just talking about there, you've got a vendor who's got a lot of strong offerings around what we term smart cities. You've then got maybe another vendor sat in the middle who's got a gateway set of offerings that gives a level of flexibility when it comes to aggregation. And then invariably, you've got people that are building the app back end and the analytics dashboards and exposing what they're doing via APIs so that it can be even further integrated into an end client solution if they want. It's like, here's the foundation, here's the building blocks that we've got. We're using best of breed from some well-known vendors. We're putting our own special sauce on top of that. And then, you know what? We're saying you can, Mrs. Customer, take this wherever you want to take it and integrate it as far as you want to integrate it. The interesting thing is that I think in certainly two of those cases, the businesses were relatively young. The partners were relatively young. And that shows, I think, in their attitude and approach to how they've built that. Because you did a little test, didn't you?
Yeah, I think you asked one of the companies who was working all across the world, working in environmental areas around, looking after oil spills and other forms of sea life issues. And you asked them where their back end was and, or where the smart compute was taking place. And they said, I think it's AWS. I don't think you were sure, but
it was Azure.
Oh, was it Azure?
Yeah, but it was a public cloud.
Yes,
that's the point.
The point is, it was just like I think it's this. It's he was quite dismissive of where it was because it wasn't really relevant. But then I walked to the other company who was doing some smart stuff in viticulture, and I asked them, look, if you don't mind, can I just ask you if you know what A is? And the pause there was I put a traditional storage vendor into that question, and they just looked at me blankly and said, no, what is this? And then I then said, okay, do you mind if I ask you what a storage array is? And again, I put one of the new innovative, disruptive storage vendors into that question. And I just got another blank stare. Had no idea. And I've been saying this to the resellers. Look, I know that you want to sell storage and you can buy storage from us and all the other good things that we sell, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yep. But at the same time, there are other business models that are not just maybe creeping up into our space, but they are coming in such a way where you really, they really don't care about the technology that underlies what they are doing. And that was a bit of an eye-opener for me, that they didn't even know some of these very well-known global brands that we sell. It just didn't matter to them at all.
It's scary in a way because when we look at their business, they seem very clear on who their markets are, how they've architectured and built their solution, and what the deliverable is, what the business value in return to their clients is of their solutions. How they deliver that, it's not an issue because their end clients are concerned about their business and their problem. You can fix this problem, and that either reduces the cost, improves the service, creates a new revenue stream for me as an end client. Yeah. So, right, how soon? Yeah. How soon can we take this conversation forward? And again, it comes back to this on building blocks approach. The other thing I'll say is that you had two very different partners there in that smart cities Yeah, one, like you say, was working in more
Agriculture,
of
yeah.
agriculture. One was working in the marine sector.
Mm.
The actual sensor kit
Was
was
the
no
same.
different. Was
Yeah.
the same. But you know what? One set of guys, the
Yeah,
maritime
you're right.
guys, had just happened to mount it in a buoy instead of up a pole.
Yeah.
So it's like, well,
Mm.
that's not designing something from scratch. That's
Mm.
taking it and embedding it building it into a buoy. That's the hardware, the software, the design element of the actual sensor pack remains the same. So you have that velocity there. So, Paul, it remains a pleasure to have you on.
Yep.
And it's been fascinating so far. It's been eye opening, and it's been, how can I put it? It's been strange in other ways because. Yeah, we're talking about being surprised by seeing solutions on stand, even though we're at IoT Solution World Congress. But that strangeness is borne through by the fact that even these vendors are telling their stories
Through
with
the partners. Yep.
Yeah, and it really is an ecosystem message. I'm loving that at the minute.
All right.
Thank you very much, my friend.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you all for listening.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. Thanks for listening to another episode of Arrow Bandwidth. If you'd like to hear more, please click and subscribe to our channel on your preferred podcast app, follow us on Twitter @Arrow Global, or learn more about us at our various websites, including www.arrow.com. Thanks for listening.